throughout the heavens and earth. He alone is the busted one. Jinwoo is so strong that he can take over the entire world in an evening without even lifting a finger. You see all these S rankers? Well, he can make them grovel on their knees with just his aura alone. With his power, Jinwoo saved the entire universe of solo leveling several times, like the national threat in the Jeju Island incident. He did the same thing again with the giants in Japan. Then proceeded to wage a war against the omnipotent evil monarchs, saving the entire world in the process. And just to flex, my man resets time, loses all of his minions, starts from scratch, so he can end the war all alone, solo killing every monarch. But exactly how strong do you have to be in order to do all of this? Well, let's break this down. Leaving aside his ability to progress infinitely by leveling up, Jinwoo's pinnacle is the full power of the Shadow Monarch, which bestowed him absolute strength, durability, speed, stamina, intelligence, and ridiculously OP hacks. Though the system forced Jinwoo to go through Saitama's one punch training regime, the strength given to him is beyond comprehension. If we were to use the system's logic, by the end of the series, Jinwoo's strength alone reaches over level 350. To give some perspective, your average S ranker's strength is around 50 to 60, and every level added is of exponential strength, which makes an overwhelming difference. In fact, one of Korea's best S rank hunters and leader of the White Tiger Guild, Baek Yoon-ho, stated that Sung Jinwoo is equal to his own power level when he was only around level 50. That's the sheer difference between our GOAT and the others. Hell, by the time the Jeju Island raid happens, Jinwoo is already stronger than all of the other S rankers in Korea combined. We even see the Korean strike force trying to take on the Black Ant and being completely dominated, but Jinwoo literally plays around with the bug like it's an insect. Oh wait, it is an insect. But let's be honest, these guys are essentially cannon fodder, as at this point Jinwoo is only level 100.
But wait, there's more!
The only people on the planet who are even comparable to Jinwoo at level 100 are the 5 national level hunters. It is said that even one of them can defeat a nation's entire army on their own. Just imagine the nuclear force of America's army. Well, they're pretty much peanuts compared to them. But the strongest in the terms of raw power is Thomas Andre, a bruiser strength type hunter. So how did he compete with our protagonist when they actually fought against each other? Well, yeah, Jinwoo basically beats him to the brink of death. He completely overpowers Andre even after he transforms with the power of the rulers, which, if you guys forgot, are pretty much like angels of the story. And then Jinwoo keeps beating down on him. It's so bad that Andre even gives Jinwoo a gift for sparing his life. Just with this feat of beating Thomas so easily, Jinwoo was already a country level threat, and this isn't even close to Jinwoo's full strength. What makes this especially noteworthy is that just like Sung Jinwoo, Thomas had been chosen to wield godlike powers that of the other rulers, where, if you guys forgot, these rulers along with the monarchs were created on equal footing. They are the strongest things in creation, created directly by the absolute being himself. So it's insane that even before Jinwoo became the true Shadow Monarch, he was able to face off against apostles of beings compared to these monarchs. And that is why Sung Jinwoo was able to kill not just one or two, but all of the monarchs. If you look back at the lore of Solo Leveling, the original Shadow Monarch, Ashborn, was said to be so strong that both sides of the conflict feared him. This is why after joining the monarchs, Ashbon was betrayed by them, forcing him to fight both sides. This is reflected back in Jinwoo, as after his full awakening, he becomes a complete monster. Jinwoo, with his full power now on display, instantly takes down the Frost and Beast Monarch in only a few strikes. Mind you, the Beast Monarch alone was making a joke out of Germany's strongest hunter, Lennart Nierman and Thomas Andre. Plus, even the top-ranked shadows of Jinwoo's army got pinned by him. In fact, the Beast Monarch was even able to mock being thrown through multiple buildings, destroying them with his body. Yet Jinwoo ended him in only 4 strikes. And then, on top of all of this, he fought on equal footing and defeated the Dragon Monarch Antares, the strongest of all creations. To put Jinwoo's raw strength into perspective, Antares had taken over the second largest country in the world and was said to be the most durable armored creature in existence. But it was nothing against Jinwoo's strength. In fact, in chapter 177, his clash with the Dragon Monarch was so powerful that it split the heavens apart and caused a dimensional rift. Now, if you think this happened due to the fight and not just Jinwoo's solo strength, then think again, because after he uses the Cup of Reincarnation to turn back time, he alone one-shots Antares again without even breaking a sweat. But the pinnacle of Jinwoo's strength is revealed to us in the novels, where we are told that the absolute being who created everything from the planets to the monarchs and rulers hid the power to end everything, all creation, inside of the Shadow Monarch, whom Jinwoo succeeds gaining this power for himself. But the man isn't just strong, he's incredibly fast too. A big part of this is thanks to his shadow exchange ability, where Jinwoo can use his shadows as a fast travel point, being able to instantly swap locations with them. Originally, there was a 3-hour cooldown on this skill, but as he levels up and fully awakens, this restriction is removed. Mind you, he can use this to teleport anywhere in the universe. Before the final battle, he literally teleports from America to Korea in a second. But if we were to take that ability out of the equation, we are still left with an absolute speed demon. First of all, it's safe to say Sung Jinwoo has the qualities of a perfect assassin. Using his daggers, he's able to blitz his way towards an enemy's weak point and deliver a killing blow. On top of using his Quicksilver abilities, Jinwoo can increase his speed by 30% and boom, you have the fastest character in the series. From early on, Jinwoo was undetectable by other S rankers. We see this just after he's upgraded to S rank, and whilst talking to Baek, he just appears to vanish mid-sentence as he jumps past a group of reporters. And by the end of the series, Jinwoo was practically undetectable to every other monarch with the exception of Antares, as he was so agile enough to outmaneuver the Frost Monarch's attack and was able to strike the Beast Monarch so fast that he didn't even realize that he'd been attacked until one of his legs was severed. Furthermore, when the Beast Monarch tries to escape from him through a portal, how does Jinwoo respond? Well, he covers the entire planet in shadow, instantly locating where the monarch had escaped to and teleports to him in a matter of seconds. Not only can Jinwoo effectively search the entire planet instantaneously, but because he's expanding his shadow to do this, he can warp anywhere with more freedom than even Shadow Exchange had offered. In fact, Sung Jinwoo is even said to be faster than the speed of light. Yep, where in the novel, he saved Ignis from a light ray attack that moves at light speed. And in chapter 269 of the novel, it's literally stated that Jinwoo's son, who inherited his ability, is faster than the speed of light. So it makes sense that his dad is too. But if light speed is too slow for you, how about literally being able to stop time? Well, Jinwoo does this in the novels, in his fight against the Frost Monarch, where he's said to be like an alien invading the world of a paused video. This allows him to perceive even attacks that are faster than light speed and react appropriately. But having overwhelming strength and speed isn't enough, because Jinwoo is of course the strongest creature to exist. Hence, his durability is also insane. From level 1, Jinwoo's defense were on another level, because after displaying bravery in the double dungeon, he gained a spell called Kandairu's Blessing, which gave him the passive ability to regenerate any body part. But the best of it was the longevity that made him immune to any disease, ailments, or poison. That's how he was able to heal his chopped off leg and fight off the snake monster Kasaka, where after only a good night's rest, he pretty much heals like nothing had happened. But what about his defense against straight up punches and strikes? Well, when he reached level 98 in his fight against the S rank Black Ant, who mind you killed Japan's strongest hunter Goto Ryuji in one strike, Jinwoo was able to tank a whole unguarded punch right to the face with only a tiny cut on his lip. But more impressively, even when damaged and suffering from severe wounds, Jinwoo's will and durability is so sturdy that he kept on fighting the architect until victory. And when comparing his defenses to the strongest S rank hunter, Thomas Andre, they were flying through buildings and creating craters on grounds only for the smoke to clear and us realizing that Jinwoo took no damage. Thomas is supposed to be a bruiser with a high level of defense than a mage class, but in this fight, even as a necromancer, Jinwoo toyed with him like he was some lost puppy. However, someone who did end up getting through Jinwoo's defense were the Monarchs, specifically the Frost and the Beast Monarch, who stabbed Jinwoo and sliced him, leading to his death. But even after death, he arose with a full awakening as a Shadow Monarch, after which not even the Monarchs are even a match for Jinwoo's defense, as the Frost Monarch's fist literally crumbles before him. But his greatest feat of resilience was shown during the battle with Antares, the strongest monarch and creature to ever exist. His roar alone was able to freeze everyone in an instant, and even cause ripples that shook the planet to its core. Yet Jinwoo just stared right back, unfazed by this monster. Jinwoo was also able to tank multiple hits from the Dragon Monarch's strongest attack, Breath of Destruction, which turned countless S rank hunters into ash in seconds. It's so devastating that it can literally erase you from existence. But in order to save his shadow Icarus from this fate, Jinwoo tanked it with his bare hands, only having a bit of a burn. Just to put this into perspective, in the novels, these beams are depicted to be made out of light, which moves at the speed of light and have the power to wipe out entire islands and pretty much everything in existence. In fact, he literally blew up half of Canada with just one of these attacks. Furthermore, in the same fight, Jinwoo learned to cloak himself in shadow armor, which turns literal death into a shield for the Shadow Monarch. With this on, he was able to take on 7 beams of destruction at the same time with barely taking any damage. But even if you somehow manage to get past this Shadow Susanoo and hurt Jinwoo, well, he will just simply regenerate himself. Even when it comes to losing stamina, using status recovery, he brings himself back to top condition. Now, obviously, whilst all of these things make a character strong, a person's ability will always be the most integral factor. Luckily, Jinwoo has a versatile power set that places him in a league of his own. First up is the Ruler's Authority. This is just basically telekinesis, allowing him to move objects around with his mind. And it's not just small things, because he moved the giant statues of the architect. These are made from stones, and if you look at the size difference between him and them, you can clearly tell that he is able to move literal buildings with his mind. In fact, this feat came in before he even had his full awakening, so currently he should be able to move an entire small island if he wanted. Like later on, after going back in time, he was able to move an US Army base with ease. This included around 10 tanks, which can weigh anywhere from 1,200,000 pounds to 1,600,000 pounds. Another devastating ability in Jinwoo's arsenal is Dragon's Fear, basically Conqueror's Haki on steroids. You know how Luffy could make any army of 50,000 faint with his Haki? Well, Jinwoo literally sent 10 million of the Dragon Monarch's henchmen packing just using it. The absurd part of this power is that if you are just weaker than Jinwoo, then you'll be affected by it. So even if a billion S rankers stand in his way, with one shout, they will their pants. However, Jinwoo can deal with an entire nation's army without even moving. This is due to his shadows. By the end of the series, he has amassed over 10 million of them, and these aren't just fodder level guys, because he was casually strolling into the strongest A-rank dungeons and turning their bosses into shadows. Mind you, even an average S rank will have trouble with an A-rank boss alone, and once they are turned into a shadow, they also get a massive buff. Even if you kill these shadows, they will just regenerate until Jinwoo's mana runs out. But by the end of the series, bro has near infinite mana. To put things into further perspective of how strong some of Jinwoo's shadows are, let's just take a look at the Dragon Kamish. This guy needed 5 of the strongest hunters from America to defeat it, and was said to have destroyed the entirety of the West Coast US. And by the end of the series, Jinwoo has 3 of these dragons in his army, who aren't even the strongest soldiers. So just a mid-level unit in his army have the power to annihilate entire countries. But when we get to the higher level shadows, it's even more impressive. For example, Tusk is a mage class shadow whose hymn of the fire dragon was so strong that it neutralized a former monarch baron's own breath attack. So just Jinwoo's minions are strong enough to contend with the demigods of this universe. But it doesn't end there, because Jinwoo gets even more buffs through his titles. For example, if you are a beast and fight Jinwoo, then he gets a damage boost through being known as the Wolf Assassin. The title of Conqueror of Adversity boosts his stats by the percent of missing health. So if he has 1 HP left, then all of his stats are doubled. But leaving aside his insane power, strength, durability, speed, and his godly hacks, Jinwoo's arsenal of abilities would have been useless without his insane big brain and intelligence, which Jinwoo has in spades, because this was literally one of the reasons he was chosen to become the vessel for the Shadow Monarch. From episode 1, we see his battle IQ, where in front of an experienced C-rank hunter in Song, it was Jinwoo who ascertained the mechanics of the statues and brought everyone to safety. After obtaining the Monarch's power, Jinwoo would reluctantly add points to his intelligence, but when he did, his mana would correspondingly increase. This showcased that Ashbond gave value to intelligence and would only allow full progression to take place when Jinwoo was mentally evolved. Later, Jinwoo even showcased his deep social perception and IQ when Hwang and his gang was going to let him and Jinho die in the spider cave. Jinwoo instantly clocked what they were up to and managed to save not only himself but his best friend too from death. Later on, he was also smart enough to analyze the abilities of Kang Tae-shik and use his status recovery to win a fight against an opponent who was stronger than him at that point. During the Red Gate incident, his big brain also figures out that if he and the rest of the party go into the Bear Forest, it would be much safer than going into the territory of the Ice Elves. This literally saves everyone's life, as Jinwoo is able to kill the bears who aren't that intelligent fairly easily. Meanwhile, the other party of the B rankers who left with Kim Shoal at the end up dead. Time and time again, Jinwoo adapts to his situation and picks the most efficient route to deal with the problem, whether it be stronger than him or not. This was clearly on display in his climb through the Demon Castle, where he created units of his shadows to cover a large area and search for the floor keys. Furthermore, when he reached floor 80 and realized that the higher ranked demons are intelligent, he used the help of Usul and her father to quickly jump to floor 100. More importantly, Jinwoo's intelligence and decision-making skills allowed him to save not just the world from the Monarchs, but those who had died in the process. Yep, my boy just cooked up a plan to go back in time to take out every single Monarch by himself. This wasn't just based on his insane power, rather it was dependent on his IQ to regather his shadows and then strategically assassinate every single Monarch. Overall, it was Jinwoo's undying will and big brains that brought forth his godly powers that made him the Shadow Monarch. But if you guys want to know every power in detail that Jinwoo has, then make sure to watch this video next.